Good evening, everyone, and we welcome you back to the last game of the GPL Summer 2017. I am Vulcan, and with me is Iconic. We will be your shoutcasters for the last game, the closing match for Day 2 of the group stages.
Yeah, so we just came from one of the Headhunters games versus Team Manila Eagles.
Yeah.
And
I gotta say, from my stand-up here, TME has really had a huge momentum boost from that KNH game. The
yeah, it was
confidence,
a morale boost, the tong bringing it in. And aside from that, one key thing to take away from the previous game is that the drafts coming out from Headhunters have been really weird with the silver priority.
in a way that I guess for the Headhunters, they were trying to figure out which path to take, but this is going to be their last game for Day 2 between Young Generation, the second seed from Vietnam, facing off against the Headhunters.
Yeah, so I feel like Headhunters they are actually 0-3 right now, and I feel like their coach just told them to play whatever they want to play. Like play whatever makes you feel comfortable, because we just saw Graves being locked in. We haven't seen Graves being played a lot this split, like especially in this tournament, because Graves was super strong in the spring split, but right now Graves doesn't seem like an optimal jungler. And
I wouldn't say optimal, more of Graves' time where he was very high priority is gone now.
yeah, I feel like that's a better way to put it. So right now, YG actually sits at 4-1, while Headhunters sits at 1-4. And as you can see from the picks and bans, there's a lot of magic damage coming out from Young Generation, and from Headhunters, they have a really lane dominant top lane and bottom lane, and a jungler that needs to ramp up. So what do you expect? What do you think about these bans coming out from both sides?
I like to point out that the Headhunters, they are trying to destroy Pallets, Pull, same as Cruiser. Look at those support bans. A Blitzcrank, a Braum, an Alistar, a Lulu, a Janna, a Thresh. Really huge bans into the support pool. One of the high-class supports being removed in this game.
A Lux Hover.
The Lux Summer, so this
I
might...
think they're probably trolling. They probably will change that. Never mind. They actually lock it in. So a very magic-heavy composition coming out from Young Generation. And we don't know if this Lux is actually mid lane or support, because you can accordingly play her in both roles. And you have the Vladimir for Patrick. He performed really well yesterday.
Yes.
With that Vladimir getting a win versus Team Manila Eagles. Will they lock it in?
So that will be a locking for the mid lane of the Headhunters. So Young Generation's mid laner could be will be the Lux. We'll be seeing soon, but the Headhunters will be taking in the Morgana for their support.
Yeah, there aren't actually that many supports left in the pool. 6 support bans this time around. And it just makes you ask the question, what supports are actually left in the pool? We've actually had to resort to a light mage and a dark mage duking it out as the supports in the bottom lane. So it's a Jace mid, and we'll have a Lux support for, which is very interesting. This is the first time I've actually seen Lux support being played in a professional game.
Yeah,
And
in a way, this is actually a good side because we're seeing something new. I have yet to see Morgana paired up with the Caitlyn in the GPL scene. So let's see how the Headhunters will fare against the Young Generation. Battle of the Light and Dark. Morgana's bind, in my opinion, has a ridiculous hitbox, and the duration is just crazy.
Yeah, and that might be enough to set up Chris Kyle to be able to land to dish out all of his damage onto the bottom lane of Young Generation. One thing to take note of is Pallet actually has a big bullseye marked on his back because he has no mobility, and Null as well. He will have a hard time in the mid lane if he gets CC'd by a Morgana roam.
So it's more on pick-up composition for the Headhunters. They will have to rely. This is going to be more of a, I wouldn't call it a game that cannot change anything, but it's the fact that the Headhunters, they sit at 1-4, whereas Young Generation, they sit at 4-1.
Yeah, I feel like coming into these kinds of games where you've lost 3 games already in one day, as a coach, you just want to make sure that your team actually gets as much experience as possible. And I feel like, again, if I were the coach there, I would just tell them to play whatever they want to play, whatever they're comfortable with. That's why I think we see the Graves. That's why we see a Morgana.
Make it count. Well, this is going to be more of a relaxation for Headhunters, seeing that as the standings go, they are out of the running for the knockout stage. But we'll be seeing that, maybe not yet. We'll see in this game, however, if they have a chance. But on to the Summoner's Rift. This is going to be the last game of day 2 of the group stage.
Yeah, so as you can see, the draft coming out from Headhunters. They have a really strong mid lane. They have a really strong top lane and bottom lane. Very oppressive compared to the counterparts in the bottom lane. Again, a very volatile matchup in the top lane where you have a Rumble and a Renekton. Whoever gets the first kill will somewhat snowball out of control. And in the mid lane, you have a Jace and a Vladimir pick. Interestingly, Vladimir has a really high pick rate in Southeast Asia compared to other regions. So, easily counterable by Executioner's Calling. We'll see if the Jace will actually prioritize that in his first back, or the Hex Drinker.
The Hex Drinker, I would probably go for the Executioner's Calling because it's cheaper. It works really well against the Vladimir in terms of dueling. But we'll be seeing that maybe pre-6 because so far Naul will be just playing the safe game against the Vladimir, whereas the top lane matchup, whoever, as Iconic said, gets the first kill or more goal will be dictating how the top lane will turn out.
Yeah, but Naul already putting the pressure onto Patrick, but Patrick replies sustaining himself in the lane. He will be able to sustain all of the damage Naul will dish out. So the question here is, now, what Naul will do when Patrick has more sustain in him, will he opt to actually go all in with the Ignite to, kill him before he actually sustains back to full HP?
So we are seeing that Patrick is running the Ghost, and as Naul has the Ignite, he does have the kill pressure. So Patrick will have to play it a bit more safe. He has to really judge the movements of Naul. But let's get straight to the top lane action. A gank is incoming. A stun from the Ruthless Predator. Crystal comes in. A flash burn by the Rumble. Red will be giving the first blood to Crystal in the ball lane duo. Palet will be taking Cruiser, whereas Ruben will take Palet for a 1-for-1 trade in the bottom lane.
Yeah, so let's talk about that top lane kill first. As a top lane Rumble, you know that your enemy jungler started red buff, right? Because what happened was Ruben and Crusher came to lane late. You know that Raptors wasn't the start of Chris Kyle, so you should expect the enemy jungler to be at topside at around 237. He didn't put the ward and he was over aggressive and immediately gets punished by Chris Kyle and Box. They don't even have to burn any flashes to be able to get Ren.
And I love how Big Koro is doing his job, really pressuring that Ruben into his Caitlyn, because
it's actually the other way around usually. When the Caitlyn versus Tristana, the Caitlyn gets the priority. And one thing to take note of here is Big Koro wasn't the one who got the kill, so this could still be bad for Ruben and Big Koro. But a notable thing coming out from both supports is
a double bind from Paladin will set things up for Big Koro. No kill secured, but it will be the mine to at least finish him off. A third hit for Big Koro. Big Koro still survives, but in the mid lane, Patrick will be going in deep. He does dodge the gas from that Elise, so Venus will have a bet back.
Yeah, Big Koro sustaining himself. He was about to die to a Casher minion, but luckily he had his Warlord's Bloodlust auto attack the minions to get enough HP to actually not die.
Oh boy, I think this is going to be bad news for Box. Getting torched, forced to flash away from the flame spitter of Ren.
Yeah, and going back to what I was about to mention, the supports, you can see one is running Coin while the other one is running Spell Thief's Edge. So this could be a support that will be dealing a lot of damage as well compared to Crusher, who will just be a CC bot.
So when it comes to more damage, we'll be seeing that. So when it comes to burst, I would let it to Pallet because he's on that Lux. There is that passive from the final spark. So spam-wise, it will be Pallet being trigger happy. So we did see some action in the river side of the red side of H2, where we did see that shrine was secured by YG, so the Drake will have to wait.
Yeah, that near solo kill as well from Box. Box was in a really bad position because his wave was pushing in, but sadly Ren didn't actually freeze the wave. Now the wave is pushing onto Box, and Box will get the big golden EXP lead over Ren. And as you can see, when the moment Box will hit level 6, he can go all in against Ren, who still doesn't have flash. Really close right there.
Really close call for Ren. The recall will channel through, but we do see that Box picked up the long sword and for the items for the Hex Drinker. So this is Box building towards the early Hex Drinker so that he can duel Ren with a better trade.
Yeah, one thing I want to see here coming out from Young Generation is they rotate Ren and Naul to switch lanes actually.
And look at that, with Naul rushing that Executioner's Calling, really denies Patrick sustain. This will be Naul winning that trade. For the flash and shock blast will not land though. Maybe he'll go drive in, into the skies and to the ignite. It will be Naul taking the kill.
Yeah, Patrick overstaying his welcome. But Venus dies as well to Chris Kyle. Chris Kyle has a lot of damage. He's 2-0 already. And he's almost level 6.
Cruiser's not safe. Even with his black shield, Pallet again picks up the kill. Thanks to the ignite, Cruiser picks up the kill. Pallet very low, steps on that cupcake. A trade-off.
And Naul right now, wrong base, buddy. So the Box just chasing in. But what's happening is Box is actually going to be denied a wave and a half in the top lane by this top tier 1.
And this is Chris Kyle actually getting more value with that Graves. If YG actually loses this game, they will be sitting at 4-2. So I'm wondering if they are aiming to go for the second seed spot where they do not need to fight the Gigabyte Marines.
So one thing you can take note of is this Graves needs to get ahead, and he is very far ahead with those 3 kills. And especially with Venus going for the boost of mobility, he will get more gold value. He actually gets the boost of mobility himself and a serrated Dirk, so we might see a rush on the Yomu's Blade or Dusk Blade as well. One thing to take note of is they're actually somewhat the AP and AD versions of each other, because they're both gonna go for full AP, full AD, and then they're gonna go for Magic Pen and Lethality. So whoever can get their damage off first will actually be the clear winner.
When it comes to rushing items, I'm pretty sure that H2 has the hands down, but Cruiser really likes those bindings. He does have the black shield, but does not have the fast hands. Box goes in for the stun trade-off against Red. The Dark Bind will not find anyone for Pallet.
Yeah, but going back to the point, we can see Naul go to top lane as well to deal with this Renekton, because this Renekton has built a Hex Drinker first item. So Naul can deal with him with the Executioner's Calling, can reduce the effectiveness of Call the Meek, and also solo kill him because Box does not have any innate armor compared to Patrick, who will be itemizing towards that Zhonya's later on.
Look at that. With Box, with having in the Hex Drinker, he's fearless. He's level 7, has the Dominus, can go and trade up with Ren, but Ren is really torching that Crocodile.
Yeah, so a lot of aggression coming out from the top lane, from the bottom lane, even in the mid lane. This is gonna be an action-packed game for sure.
So things said, bot lane looks pretty fun because we're seeing the trade-off between who is the better skill shot lander. But right on the top lane side, Box goes in with a Ruthless Predator, but it'll be Chris Kyle who's the collateral damage for the kill secure.
Ren must not have expected that amount of damage. He still had his flash available as well. The collateral damage together with Meek just insta-gibbed him, and he had no time to react.
So with that said, H2 stands the kill score for 7-4 with YG. Not really behind in CS thanks to, not behind in gold because of the CS. And now we're seeing a teleport coming in from Box. Venus trying to set things off for Box, however.
Yeah, this could be an easy escape. Box actually gets denied. Blast Cone, and the Ignite goes on to Crusher.
Ruben though takes the big corner. The Dark Bind will connect towards Naul, but in the top side, Box with the Hex Trigger. Will try and trade things up. He does have to sustain from the Cultimate, but without a doubt, Ren will be taking the kill.
That was very unfortunate for
Ace
YG.
in the hole is available. Not yet. That is a close call. If ever Ruben had the race in the hole, he may have gotten the kill, but Chris Kyle is there for the cleanup.
As we saw earlier, we saw that Naul actually threw his Ignite onto Crusher, but the reason why Crusher was able to survive was because Big Koro was solo killed by Ruben. That gave him enough EXP to actually hit level 6 and not die. So right now you can see like a lot of the favor is on Headhunters. We actually thought that YG would have the upper hand, but this Graves pick is actually working. 6-0-0 for Chris Kyle, and there's no indication of him stopping. Look at how strong he is. He will have that Yomu's or Duskblade completed when he backs.
As I want to quote myself, I really love when I see a Duskblade. Whoever finishes the Duskblade first immediately wins the trade. So this will be Chris Kyle in for H2, having the advantage against Venus, who has yet to complete any item.
Yeah, and the moment Chris Kyle gets his Warrior Enchantment, he will be getting a lot of gold efficiency from that. And he can end up one-shotting Venus because Venus is very, very squishy right now. No armor, is slowly building towards that Runic Echoes. But the thing is, whoever gets the jump on each other wins. Look at that damage.
But Chris Kyle for the cleanup. However, Big Koro is there for the shutdown.
Yeah, that was very explosive.
Deleted.
Like, he was able to flash the final spark, but he still died because of the burst coming out from Pallet together with the Ignite.
So I gotta say for Chris Kyle, he knows how to go big. So all in, take the kill, get out as fast as you can, but it's difficult knowing that Pallet has that CC. When it comes to the mid lane, however, I don't think Patrick is having a really good time. His sustain is immediately countered with that Executioner's Calling, and I don't think Naul is going to give him any more space to breathe.
Yeah, so the Executioner's Calling being super effective right now. And what I want to see from Chris Kyle is he starts taking to the jungle, because his mid lane doesn't have priority and his bot lane is fighting for priority. But one thing he can do is start killing Venus in his jungle. And he has the tools to actually kill Venus before Naul or Ren actually have time to respond, because he does have that Duskblade active. He can fish if there are wards or not, but he actually bought the dagger, so it looks like we might not see the Warrior Enchantment just yet.
And I love how Ruben immediately rushed that Infinity Edge, where we see that Big Koro going for the Static Shiv and Pickaxe will have more DPS and more pushing power, as we can see right here. But we do see Venus spawned in the bot lane.
Yeah, but we do know that Chris Kyle is here in the bottom lane as well. If they do try to go for a dive, Chris Kyle will be there to take out Venus before she even tries to dive them.
And with the Mountain Drain being the first drain, you can see that both teams are taking their time. However, I have to say for Young Generation, they are lacking in terms of item completion, because we are seeing that Chris Kyle already dominating the jungle with his sheer raw damage. Now Big Koro, thanks to the Static Shift and more attack speed, he is taking out a turret pretty quickly.
Yeah, and this bot lane is actually pretty interesting, because the amount of CC brought by Pallet means that the explosive shot coming out from Big Koro is very effective.
Box going in for the last, sets it up with that stun, flash away for Ren, but without the Scrap Shield will sustain just a bit, but the last shot will kill Ren. Chris Kyle takes the kill by the bot lane. Pallet, it's ignited, they survive, but the buster shot from Big Koro will be enough to get the resets, and now the Shock Blast will not secure Ruben just yet, but no, dives in to the skies. Now into the bot lane, we see Patrick respawning in. Big Koro gets the damage, will survive. The Executioner's Calling is just too much, but Patrick will still get the kill. Now Wu will block his double kill, trying to shut him down. Sustain is there. There's the passive from the Executioners, and now Null picks it up.
Yeah, so that was crazy. The amount of damage by Big Koro onto Crusher, immediately crushing him. And then Big Koro goes in again onto Ruben, but Ruben survives for a little bit longer just to give Naul the kill. But a really nice roam from Patrick as well to respond to the roam from Naul. Gets the kill onto Pallet and then Big Koro, but then dies to Naul.
So things so far looking pretty solid for the Headhunters. They do have kill score advantage, but when it comes to gold, there is no one ahead. So it's a matter of all the gold being concentrated onto Chris Kyle. Take out Chris Kyle, you're just gonna win this game.
Yeah, so again, look at the CS lead coming out from the Jace, the CS lead coming out from the Tristana. Usually you'd expect the Caitlyn to actually win the lane matchup, but for some reason the Tristana is actually further ahead.
I wonder if Cruiser is forgetting that he has a black shield, because he has been eating up his buys one after another.
Yeah, and one notable thing is these things aren't supposed to happen, because YG actually doesn't have any Sightstone, but it seems like even when Headhunters have the Sightstone, they're still the ones facing the game.
Busted for the finisher. It will not happen. Patrick is still a bit more tanky, a bit beefy to survive that. So Cruiser, I wonder if he is actually waiting for the right time to use his black shield. He could have at least not get binded out. He is sitting in a KDA of 144. So this is a bad game for him.
Yeah, and this is gonna be scary, because one thing about the shields coming out from Pallet is it can hit all 4 other teammates, and with Ardent Sensor, it's actually very scary, considering that at least in Spider form also is very auto attack reliant with that frenzy, and of course you want your Rumble when he's overheated to have more attack speed as well, so it actually benefits the entire composition of YG.
So for YG, will be going towards maybe the late game scaling composition in terms of itemization. So we are seeing that Red is a bit behind, okay, really behind, because he has yet to finish up the Leonard's format. So this would be Box's top lane game. He is pressuring the top lane a lot. Has yet to complete the Black Cleaver, but he will be completing that soon.
Yeah, I feel like it's so weird that he actually prioritized the Haunting guys before the Seeker's Arm Guard. Seeker's Arm Guard is way more efficient in terms of dealing with tower dive. I know that it's very inefficient to tower dive with a Graves, but the thing is, it can be mitigated by the fact that Renekton is there. And both of them being AD, getting a Seeker's Arm Guard off the bat would have really helped in helping survive in those tower dives.
And although pressuring the bottom lane will not give Patrick the room to grow. Flash over the wall, Venus will be picking up the kill.
Yes, but sadly, they can only get the mid lane turret from that because the minion wave at bot is way too far. But the static shift and Infinity Edge dealing so much damage to Ruben when they did trade auto attack, you could just see the difference in the damage. And that's how far behind the Caitlyn is right now. Needs to get that static shift to actually be able to trade with the Tristana.
And now we see 3 members in the bot lane side, taking down the turret rather quickly.
And this is what we were talking about with that prismatic barrier.
A lot of us actually for that turret to be taken down thanks to the Ardent Sensor.
Yeah, so actually making this Lux pick work for some weird reason. And right now we are seeing the Sightstone completed for Pallet. And again, the jungler does do some of the vision control as well, because you can see the Tracker's Knife already completed for Venus.
Yes, what about a sweeping lens? So jungler control-wise, Chris Kyle is fearless, and we are seeing the classic lethality build for the Jace. Naul already has the Ghost Blade, will now go for the Dusk Blade.
Yeah, so you can see Chris Kyle trying to be cheeky, hoping that someone from YG actually face checks onto him, but Pallet being none the wiser uses his... gets vision of him and they don't commit to that face check.
Oh, look at the damage coming from Naul onto Patrick. He is not having a good time.
Yeah, so right now the Guardian Angel already completed as well for Chris Kyle. He is prioritizing this Guardian Angel more than his Warrior Enchantment. And I still see that dagger. I don't know what he plans on building with that. If it is going to be a Phantom Dancer, or is it going to be Static Shiv, or something else altogether.
Well, he may build towards the Phantom Dancer, and that long search would be the Death Dance, because that's a classic great build for dueling thanks to his true grit. But now we're going to be seeing the Ocean Drake being live. And for the Baron, 7 seconds left. Let's see if who will take the Baron and change the flow of fight. And now, I don't think Naul will allow any member, especially Ruben, to farm up safely.
I feel like there is some merit for the Phantom Dancer, but static shifts can also work. Because note that none of YG are actually building any magic resistance. And it does work well with Duskblade for the one-shot capability. But as we talk about getting one-shot, Crusher living with a sliver of HP, and Headhunters lose 2 turrets in the mid lane for free just because the poke coming out from YG is way too strong with that Lux, with that Jace, and the Siege together with that Tristana is just crazy.
And now with 4 turrets in the hands for Young Generation, Headhunter sits at 1. The Baron will be in the advantage for Young Generation, seeing that they do have more control. And Bok, I don't think he can even get near Big Koro. He does have the Buster Shot for his safety. Right, Chris Kyle, cheeky little guy, wasting the time of Ren. Ren flashes away, so Chris Kyle is happy with that.
Yeah, Chris Kyle, not knowing his limits, doesn't overcommit. And there you go. He actually ends up burning Ren's flash as well.
So this will be Chris Kyle pressuring the top lane side, maybe opening up. Yes, this would be the Rift Herald being spawned in the top lane side. Young Generation, they're making their way in, trying to spawn to this. Rift Herald gets taken out rather quickly. And Venus is in really big trouble, trying to flash away, but Patrick will be picking up the kill. Rift Herald will not deal a lot of damage, just get binded onto that turret. Kuzen trying to dodge the Dark Binding now. Will be facing up against Patrick. And now we see Victoria going for the flag now. Will he survive? He does not. Patrick takes him down. Final Spark will not kill anyone, but it'll be Victoria trying to go in, trying to get the reset. He does have the resets. He can go in. He does go in onto Patrick. He does not take him down. But bind it down. Victoria is moving on to juice your target. And there's Chris Kyle to cut him off.
Big Koro, the initiative coming out from him was really nice, but sadly, he was way too cool. Cool people look away when there are explosions, but sadly, the explosion wasn't good enough to kill Patrick right there. So Big Koro actually overcommitting instead. Had he gotten that reset, it would have been a different story.
Ooh, Patrick being fearless with the tower dive, and thanks to the cupcake, Venus cannot chase him anymore.
Yeah, and he will just sustain himself as well. And what a fight coming out from Headhunters. Headhunters, Chris Kyle. Again, the story of the jungler versus jungler. Whoever gets the jump on who will actually get the kill. But Chris Kyle just brute forcing it against Venus. Venus getting destroyed.
Venus just got obliterated there. So right now the Baron is live. We are seeing that H2, the Headhunters, trying to get some...
Yeah, so as you can see there, Chris Kyle hits the Duskblade and then misses his ult, but still way too strong to DPS Venus. Pallet lands the misses the light binding, but then Big Koro is still there. He is still enabled, even though Patrick goes half onto Naul. Look at what Big Koro does. Big Koro's positioning in this fight. He could have gotten the kill, but then the Zhonya's. He goes for it again, but sadly, just way too tanky. Drops the control ward, burns the flash, but then he could have gotten another auto attack there. And then they immediately go for Ruben, but Ruben still has the heal.
That Zhonya's was more than enough to deny Big Koro's reset, so that would be clever use of items by Patrick. Now, with Young Generation, 3 members in the top side with Headhunters catching up. We do see Cruiser over that wall, trying to land some Dark Bind. Does not happen. Big Koro gets a bit agitated there. He does spot Cruiser. Cruiser gets picked off.
Yeah, but again, that fight could have gone better if Big Koro wasn't complacent with that last auto attack onto Patrick, because you have to make sure that people are dead. You need to give the double tap. And as we're talking about double taps, we might see a second turret as well going down. The poke coming out from Young Generation is just way too much. The wave clear actually coming out from Headhunters is very inferior compared to Young Generation. They only have the Caitlyn to wave clear. Patrick needs to commit Tides of Blood, if I'm not mistaken, to actually help clear the wave. So the composition of Young Generation actually better at sieging.
Man, it's a war zone in the top lane. Lots of skill shots coming in. Patrick trying his best. Ruben should not get caught. The buster shot will shoo away Patrick, and there is the equalizer for the burn and slow with Null taking down the top lane inner turret with Cruiser being also the buy one take one prize, but now it will be Chris Kyle being shut down. The Guardian Angel is gone.
Yeah, Cruiser not having a good day. 1-7-5 here. The Morgana obviously not working, and Naul just way too strong. 4 levels up on him. The moment he hits that empowered shock blast through the acceleration gate, it just chunks him for more than 50% of his HP. With that double lethality item set up, it's very scary right now to be Cruiser.
And we're also seeing that Venus and Ren to Leander's Torment. That is just ridiculous. Headhunters, they'll just be melted down by the sheer burst.
Yeah, I agree that Leandri's Torment is actually the best way to go about it, because look at how Headhunters are actually itemizing. They don't have that many defensive items. Aside from the double Hex Drinker, the Randuin's Omen, and the Guardian's Angel, there's nothing else actually defensive about the composition of Headhunters. And Cruiser with the Ardent Sensor cannot get as much value with that Black Shield compared to the Prismatic Barrier coming out from Pallet.
So with the Control Ward traded off for H2 and YG, the Ocean Drake was left unguarded. Chris Kyle is an opportunist. He will be trying to take away this Ocean Drake, possibly uncontested. No Generation, they are staying in the Baron side, so they are not going to contest the Ocean Drake from Chris Kyle. Chris Kyle will secure the Ocean Drake for his team.
So we will see the Ocean Drake taken down for Headhunters. What this means is actually just another reset of for the next Drake, but Ocean Drake will be the next dragon as well. So again, Headhunters might want it, but ideally they'd want to get the Infernal Drake because it does benefit their composition a lot and it helps them get back
and
to
Fox goes in for the flag, takes down Big Carl. Stun is not yet available, but the Goon will find Fox. Fox is in a bad spot. He does get bursted down into the skies. Chris Kyle, however, will be trading off with Fox. Fox still surviving with a slither of hell. Patrick is very low. There's the Zonia's pop, and I don't think he's going to be surviving there. He does have to sustain. I think Ren will be still sticking towards it. Patrick is immortal. Null will be sniping down Ruben, and Paladin will be finishing off Chris Kyle.
Yeah, the support getting the kill onto the jungler as well. It started out alright for Headhunters because it was just a support for AD carry trade. But then they ended up overcommitting, and Patrick almost gets sniped out as well by that final spark.
But he will be sustaining himself with the wolves. Let's hope he does not get taken out there. Null sees this. Shock Blast will connect. Let's enchant this iconic. It will connect. It will connect, and it does connect. And now he does get a Grievous. Oh, but a bit too late. It will be Patrick getting the upper hand.
Yeah, so let's think about like how that was played out. Patrick actually knowing his limits. But yeah, let's take a look back into that. You can see that Big Koro gets picked and then Cruiser gets picked. But Box being over aggressive, knowing sadly Patrick isn't there yet. Acing the whole use. Box survives, but look at how they overcommit again. Ren is still full HP, and Naul, even though he has no mana, he still can dish out the damage. The Prismatic Barrier doing a lot of work. And then Naul with the snipe onto Ruben. Look at that. Bang! Gets the kill. Ren sadly has to go, but Pallet gets the return kill onto Chris Kyle.
This could be the tipping point of the game. As always, this is the Baron, one of the biggest objectives in the entire League of Legends game. Bigcar over that wall with about the shot, but he changed his mind. He wanted to get out with his flash.
Yeah, that would have been so good if the light binding combined with the equalizer actually connected. That was a really tight spot, and Big Koro being crazy aggressive goes rocket jumping into it.
So now things looking pretty calm. It would be Pallet stealing the blue buff. Now the Baron Maybe overtaking for anyone. We will be seeing the headhunters going in slowly. No wards placed yet, but Ren will have his teleport ready if a Baron contest does happen. Chris Kyle, however, in the bot lane.
Yeah, stalking him right now. He can one-shot Red even through his Zhonya's Hourglass. So again, TP advantage for both top laners still up. So you might expect them to duke it out in the bottom lane because Baron is an objective.
So with the Ocean Draping life next, Young Generation will be reaching the 13-minute mark for the game. So things will be in favor for the Young Generation while the Headhunters are struggling. Patrick still surviving, sustaining himself. There is the Zonian, and here comes Cruiser for the save. Patrick will be surviving with Bucks being the casualty.
Yeah, Patrick over-aggressive there, actually gets caught. And Box has to use his teleport.
Wow, now with the fancy footwork will be reaching that Ignite. He does get slow. Ruben
This
gives
will be Baron
double.
unless Chris Kyle can steal it for Headhunters because Headhunters took a really bad fight there.
Now it will be Young Generation taking away this Baron uncontested. Oh wait, what's this? Chris Kyle trying to make for a miracle play. Let's see if it will turn out. He does have to go in, he goes in with a flash. The Baron is still pretty much healthy, but Chris Kyle is still okay with that. I'm gonna chill here in the Baron pit. I want to steal it, but no, gets denied by now. Ooh.
He actually dashed into the wall, had to immediately flash over. He had no idea how much HP was left on Baron. Immediately panic flash, thinking that Baron was about to be completed. Really good restraint as well from Young Generation. All of them stopped hitting the Baron and immediately waited for him to respawn from that Guardian Angel.
So it would be Chris Kyle trying to do for the game-changing steal without any success. So now the Baron is in the hands of Young Generation. This will be Headhunters on the defensive side, knowing how Young Generation is very much ahead. But let's see what happens.
So as you can see here, Patrick was not supposed to be there. It looked like a real decent fight, but then Vox immediately got caught out and then collapsed on. But the biggest thing about this is how strong the carries of Young Generation are. Cruiser has been very irrelevant this game, and you see that they just wipe the floor with them, with the empowered shock blast, with the ignite onto Cruiser to get the reset for Big Koro as well.
One shock blast is more than enough for YG to scare off the Headhunters. Cupcakes will not be a problem.
Yeah, and Naul right now is almost 6 items in. He just needs to complete that Maw of Mortius, and then he will already be one item up actually over Patrick. So you can see that the lead that he has over his counterpart is showing right now, and they have a really strong siege. You can expect this mid turret to go down really fast.
So now this will be Headhunters trying to defend the wave, and now Young Generation will be taking on the first inhibitor mid turret with the inhibitor exposed. Now is not wasting time, he goes straight to it, taking it down with ease. With another inhibitor turret being taken down in the top side, it would be the Young Generation pressuring Headhunters. So this might be the closing statement for the Headhunters.
Yeah, a triple inhibitor, possibly a triple inhibitor take for Young Generation. A really big Baron power play right there, and right now it just seems like Headhunters have bled out way too much. Cruiser has been a non-factor this entire game. 1-9-7. He has more deaths than than almost half of the kills.
And this is very interesting because we are seeing a 22-22 kill score, but the gold advantage is on the Young Generation. They have 9 turrets, 1 Baron, that's more than enough to get them an 11k gold lead.
Yeah, it's been a very scrappy game as well. And one thing you have to take a look at is Pallet actually has 16 stacks on the Magi Soul Stealer. So the snowball coming out from that Lux, support Lux with air quotes, because she does have that Magi's and building AP after getting her Cyclone and Ardent Sensor.
I bet that the Pallet has more AP than Patrick in a way, because he does have the Mega Soul Stealer, get a Rabadons, and complete the whole support build. So right now, Naul He'll be facing off against Patrick. Patrick getting thrown by two the skies. Now over below 50% health. He does have the Guardian Angel to sustain him. Make that 30% health. Now still sticking towards the poke. And here comes the assist from Mikaro. They will still stick it off to him. Mikaro getting enchanted with the prismatic barrier. And I think this will be game set. With Young Generation trying to close the game. Here comes Fox trying to go in for flash air. But it will be the equalizer torching that crocodile. And a final spark to kill of any members. But it will be sustaining here. Patrick goes in with a crocodile. Chris Kyle kills off Red. It will be a trade up, but the Nexus is exposed. And the Young Generation will be winning this last game of day 2 of the group stage.
And how fitting that the support Lux is actually still alive with almost 25 stacks to end the game.
Well, it's not just the Lux, also the Elise have the Magi Soul Stealer. So congratulations to Young Generation at right now at the standings being at number 1. And gonna hand to the Young Generation. Second seed of Vietnam, not to be underestimated.
Yeah, 5-1 right now, leading the pack with 5 wins. It feels like looking into tomorrow, we might expect Young Generation to actually make it out alive and go up against Gigabyte Marines, their bigger brother, as you said.
So right now, let's see if the Young Generation will be fighting their big brother, whereas Team Manila Eagles, the representative from the Philippines, made it to the second standing so far. We will be having the third day of the group stages tomorrow, and I hope you guys stay tuned for that. And as far as we can tell, I love how both teams play. Young Generation and TME really standing out. They're actually the new teams entering the GPL. Young Generation first time in the GPL, TME first time too, but they are the ones to raise the bar and dictate how other teams should play.
Yeah, so we will see how the games tomorrow will dictate, because this is now the fight for first and second seed. We already know what the other teams have already played all of their games, so we will see how it'll go and who will go up against Gigabyte Marines and Ascension Gaming.
So everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to the prestigious league in the entire Southeast Asia, the Garena Premier League Summer 2017. I am Vulcan, and with me is Iconic. We'll be signing off. Good night, everyone, and see you tomorrow for day 3 of the group stage. Going for the flag now. Will he survive? He does not. Patrick takes him down. Final spark will not kill anyone, but it'll be Mikoro trying to go in, trying to get the reset. He does have the reset. He can't go in. He does go in onto Patrick. He does not take him down. But find it out. Mikoro is moving on to choose your target. And there's Chris Kyle. He caught him down. Look at this, guys. Chris Kyle, however, will be trading off with Fox. Fox still surviving with a slither of hell. Patrick is very low. He does have to stay. I think Red will be still sticking towards it. Patrick is immortal. No, will be sniping down Ruben and Paladin. Mikaro getting enchanted with the prismatic barrier, and I think this will be game set. With Young Generation trying to close the game. Here comes Fox trying to go in for flash air, but it will be the equalizer torching that crocodile, and a final spark to kill of any members, but it will be sustaining here. Patrick goes in with a crocodile. Chris Kyle kills off Red. It will be a trade up, but the Nexus is exposed, and the Young Generation will be winning this last game of day 2 of the group stage.
And how fitting that the support Lux is actually still alive with almost 25 stacks to end the game.
Well, it's not just the Lux, also the